Give me a second. We're setting up a timer because we're trying not to go long. All right. First, thank you guys all for coming out. I know this thing is mandatory, but honestly, I used to skip most of these. So before we get started here, who here has lived or does live in Sargent? Show of hands. There we go. Yeah, I love my Sargent people. Place is chaos, pure chaos. I used to live like in the dungeon Sargent 1 sophomore year. This side with no windows. It just had a vent with enough light to let you know that like the outside world still existed. But
who in here is on the basketball team? That's what I want to know. Any of the hoopers in here? Okay. That's where I was at. I wasn't even coming to stuff like this, to be honest. I was in the gym all day, every day. You know, people say you got to get your 10,000 hours in. I definitely got my 10,000 hours in. I haven't played basketball in 10 years, and I'm still probably about 2,000 hours up on a lot of y'all in here. So I appreciate y'all having us up in here. When we was in here, we sat in these exact same seats. We sat in these exact same seats in all schools, but we didn't pay attention to nothing. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't pay attention to nothing, cause I knew I was going to the NBA. So why am I listening to these people for? But if there was some people like us up there, maybe I would have listened a little bit harder.
So I'm Joshua Sims, class of '04.
I'm Deion James, also class of '04. I did my junior and senior year here.
And you know, this is us actually in Brewster. And despite our expressions on this face, we do love this school. We try to give Brewster its props as much as we possibly can, but that's not what today's talk's about. Today's talk is about the Culture Connection Project, which is a nonprofit that both Deion and I founded in 2018. And like James just said, the mission is to build an appreciation among people of diverse cultures. Hopefully you guys saw a little bit about what we did just in that rolling video before and what James said, but we bring people from around the world, primarily to Uganda, for a cultural exchange and also to introduce them to the change agents of this country. And this is something, honestly, that has brought so much joy and purpose to both Deion and my lives. You know, and we could talk forever about things like the crazy cultural experiences that we've done in the last 13 years, things like tribal events or living in huts without water or with water but without electricity, but water's collected through like rivers, eating ants for lunch and stuff. But that's, you know, we thought about what we wanted to talk to you guys specifically about, and we thought probably the journeys of how we got to get to this place would make more sense, because all of you here are about to go on your own journeys. Might seem like it's far away right now, but believe me, graduating college is quicker than you think. It's going to happen pretty soon. So in order to do that, we have to back things up a little bit to 2009. I graduated college, art school, with a graphic design degree, and I was working at an ad agency. I was, you know, I'm from a blue-collar town. I didn't do well in school. I'm one of those guys here. I'm sure there's others that, like, got kicked out of public school, had to repeat the grade to come to Brewster sophomore year, and then came in. So doing something like this as a creative was, I mean, a dream come true for me, working for Yahoo and Puma. This was not something that I expected. However, to be honest with you, I still, even with all that, wasn't happy. It felt as though I was lacking some type of purpose. You know, there's nothing wrong with selling cell phones, but at the end of the day, that's what I was doing. I was designing things so a phone company could sell more cell phones, or I was designing something for Mini Cooper so they could sell cars. And I was really thinking, like, you know, is this my path forever? Is this what I'm going to be doing? And I just kind of kept my head down and grinded, trying to be as successful as possible, as quickly as possible. But finally something pulled my head up, which was in 2012 when I went to Uganda for the first time. I went over there with my parents. You can see them in the picture. I went there to volunteer at a small primary school in a rural village. And when I got there, I had done some traveling before, but this was like nothing I had ever seen. I had been to Europe, I had been to Mexico, but this was a different world. And life was very simple there. Life was, like I said before, no electricity, no running water. People are fetching water from streams. You're showering with buckets. People are farmers. But because nobody had anything together in this community, there was also no greed. There was no jealousy. And the sense of community here was like nothing I had ever experienced. It was, honest to God, beautiful. The amount of love, the amount of joy. And I fell in love with it very quickly. The thing was, there also were problems, right? Like there's malaria, there's disease, there's starvation, and these things were very, very apparent as well. However, I was hesitant to do anything because I felt as though I didn't have the information about this community. I didn't know anything about this culture, the society, and if I tried to do anything, I could do more harm than good, even with good intention. And so, you know, I tried to kind of sit back, but unfortunately, I was there volunteering to teach math at this primary school, which Miss found. Miss Found knows that I'm very bad at. Very, very bad at. Seriously, I was failing math almost here. Thankfully, with her help, I didn't. But, you know, then I had never taken another math class since Brewster. I went to art school for college. Now I'm in some rural village trying to teach it. And I gave up really, really quickly. And instead of doing that, I just started to spend time with people in this community and try to learn. That's me going for morning runs every morning. The girl with the backpack on is actually Rose. She's one of the students at that school that I was at. I was attending tribal events. The community was so welcoming. Like it was a place where it was okay to be curious. It was okay to ask questions. They wanted you to go to events. They wanted to connect. And so, you know, I kept coming back year over year because I just fell in love with it. I would take all of my vacation time and I would just go to Uganda. And I didn't really provide any value. I wanted to, but I didn't see how. I saw people, foreign aid organizations coming in and donating. However, there were consequences to those donations. If you came in and you provided something like a Kindle, which could hold 100,000 books to someone who can't get 100,000 books from America, you're also creating a class system because you just gave this person a Kindle and now they're the richest person in that village. And with that comes jealousy and greed, the things that I didn't want to have happen in that village. So it seemed as though with all these organizations, while they had good intentions, there was influence happening, there were negative impacts. And I just didn't want to create any negative impacts. So luckily, in 2016, we had a reunion. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the reunions at Brewster, they're back on campus. And so what happens is every summer, everyone shows up at campus, and we stay in these dorms for the weekend. It's amazing. And we always stay in Sargent. And I hadn't kept in touch with Deion since graduation. We both came from 04. But this is a little clip of us getting back together in Sargent.
I like bouncing.
You guys live there right now. That's what happens when you guys aren't around. Now you know. I can tell the faculty's nervous. I can tell, yeah, Lopez was there. Also class of 04. So luckily at this reunion, Deion showed up, and we were able to reconnect.
And they always say timing is everything. Timing is everything. And at that time, I was going through a really, really dark place in my life. A really dark depression. And how I got there was when I left Brewster, I was lit. I was the man. I was a star. I've been a star. I came to Brewster strictly for basketball. That's why I didn't pay attention to nothing. I was the dude knowing that I'm going to the NBA. There was not a doubt in my mind. 100% fact, I'm going to the NBA. Nothing else mattered. So that's all I did. That's all I did was play basketball. And it all worked out. My senior year, We went to the NEPSEC championship. At that time, it was the furthest Brewster's ever been. I was the leading scorer. I got a Division I scholarship to University of Tulsa. I'm starting point guard in Conference USA. I'm lit. I'm going to the league. All my peers is going to the league. All my friends is going to the league. My teammates is going to the league at the least overseas. Then I graduate in 2009. Blow out my knee. I've never been injured in my life, ever. Never had an injury. I never had a sprained ankle. I never had none of that. In fact, when I was here for 2 years, not one day did I ever go in the training room. That is a fact. And you can ask Coach Smith. Not one day, and I pride myself on that. And all my teammates would be in there with all bunch of ice like some old man, and I'll walk past outside the back door like, soft, soft. And my roommate was in there every single day. At the time, there was a trainer named Carrie. I need stem and ice. I need stem and ice. And I would just walk past, and every night I would call him soft. And where I'm from, we already thought the Cali dudes were soft anyway. Too much sunshine and palm trees. So I blow out my knee, tear my MCL, tear my meniscus. Right when I'm supposed to get to the money. And I'm in a very dark, dark place. And I'm woe is me. Oh, man, whoa, why is he in there? Oh. All 2009. All 2010. But I'm someone that is always determined, always dedicated, always driven. But I don't know nothing but basketball. And I'm coming from Milwaukee, one of the lowest economic environments you could ever see. So what do? I just get a job like everybody else. But what is everybody else? Broke. Because it's Milwaukee, the lowest social economic city that you ever seen. So now I'm making $11 an hour. Just 2 summers ago, I was a star. I was getting interviews. I'm in the paper. I'm on TV. I'm flying around. I'm eating steaks. Now I'm back in poverty. I left Brewster. I left Milwaukee. I left all of this. And now I'm right back in there. How did this happen? Just like that. So that's what I'm doing for all of 2010, all of 2011. And I never drank or smoked, ever. I just told you I'm dedicated. I'm determined. I'm just the same right now as I was in Brewster. Ask Mr. Palmer. Ask Coach Smith. Ask anybody who know me. This is exactly how I was when I was at Brewster. It's the same reason why I ain't talked to nobody when I was here. All I did was go to the gym. But now, I start drinking. And I'm mad. And I'm depressed. So I start fighting. So I'm getting more and more problems. Then, my mother died. The only consistent thing I had in my life ever. No more basketball. No more notoriety. No more being lit. No more mom. And I'm still back in this city. So Josh talked about 2016, and that picture was from 2016. But what he didn't say is actually we came in 2014 first. And in 2014, our 10-year reunion, we come. And I see all my former classmates. And they all, I call it the hey, how you doing face. They all smiling, happy. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey. Everybody happy. Some got kids at this time. Some got wives and husbands at this time. Damn near all of them got good jobs. And I'm sitting there making $11 an hour, not fulfill my dreams, And I'm thinking, how did I get here? And we all left at the same, we all started at the same starting line. How am I so far behind? How did this happen? I must have took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. This was not the design. I did everything right. Everything they said to do. Work hard. Nobody worked harder. I promise you that. I promise you that. I promise you that. Nobody worked harder. Nobody shot that ball more than me. Nobody was in that gym more than me. I used to sneak in the gym, hide behind the turf that was rolled up till G-Lo left, cut all the lights, and I cut them right back on and shoot 1,000 more jump shots. So how am I right back in this? And I ain't got my mom to hold me down? So in 2014, I see all of them. And I'll never forget going back to Logan, thinking, how am I going right back to the hood? How is this possible? And all of them doing good and all this fun and all this. My cousin ended up marrying a girl in Colombia. He's like, hey, cuz, man, just come to Colombia. Come down here, clear your head, we'll figure it out. But I'm still depressed. I'm still enraged. I'm still drinking. I still got these problems. I end up getting into it with him. Come back, 2016. Link up with another one of our buddies that work with us named Shay. He's like, man, we going back to the reunion. It ain't even our reunion. It's 2016. It ain't even our reunion. And we go back. And when we go back, now I'm like, all right, I'm going to figure out everything about my classmates. I want to know what they doing. And I see Josh has all these pictures about Africa. All these pictures about Africa. And I asked him, and if anybody knows Josh, he don't tell you much if he wants to do something with you. He just say, hey, I'm going in December. You want to go? Let's go. I say, all right, I'm in. He like, all right, we going. So that's June of 2016. I go with him in December of 2016. Soon as I get there, my mind is blown. My mind is blown because I'm coming from the worst neighborhoods you'll ever see. It ain't nothing like this. I ain't never had no problem getting no water. As bad as it's been, I ain't never had no problem getting no water. You go in their homes, the ground is the ground. And they still sweeping up. They still putting floor mats down. You know, I'm sitting there, woe is me. Woe is me. I didn't make the NBA. Oh, woe is me. I'm complaining about $11 an hour job that they would kill for. That's what I'm complaining about. When I get there, I'm complaining about making the NBA. I put up a basketball court. They never even seen basketball. Their mind is blown. So much joy, so much appreciation off a trash bag cut out, put up on a tree. So much joy, so much appreciation. And I'm still, woe is me, what about me? Hey, I miss my mom. One of the kids who was the best player, she was a girl. She was the best player. I'm playing with her all day. All day, we playing basketball. She got the biggest smile. Everything like a regular kid, like she just came from Disneyland. At the end of the day, I'm like, all right, we're going to go to your home. She's like, no, I don't have a home. I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, well, I'll walk you to your mom's home. She's like, no, my mom's not here. I'm like, wait, what? All right, I'll take you to your dad's home. No, he's gone too. I say, wait, what? Who you live with? Oh, I live with a friend. My whole family died. I came home one day, and they all died in a mudslide. Yo, how do you think I feel? How do you think I felt hearing that? I'm in a rage, depression off of not making the NBA. Guess what? Damn near nobody make the NBA. I'm in a rage and a depression off my mama dying. Guess what? Everybody mama died. And you'll be lucky if she died before you, because if she got to bury you, she going to kill herself. That's how my mama felt. So when I hear that, I have nothing but my life is great. I done flown all across the country, all across the world. I done did everything. I got a college scholarship. I got 0 college debt. I been on TV, done did all this stuff. My life is great. Instantly, the light bulb went off. It said, how are you looking at everything you don't have and not appreciating what you do have? I got back December 14th, 2016. My life ain't been the same since.
And so I want to talk about that from my perspective, because one thing also happened there. As you know, I was going to Uganda all this time looking for something good, looking for a way to provide value, and I couldn't find that. But as soon as we went to this primary school that I had been going to since my first time there, Deion brought a ball, and this is what happened. This started to be interesting. Within 5 minutes, Deion had a class going. That's Deborah in the front right there. She's tall now. Yeah. So I wanted to scale this. I finally saw something that was magic. Deion was getting so much life out of this, and you could see it. Like I could see everything he just said happening. I could see him reimagining his life. I could see the people in this village enjoying themselves, and there wasn't any destruction happening. We weren't destroying culture. It was something very pure. So I was like, yo, we have to scale this somehow. So the next year I brought 5 friends. And one right there is my brother. But we tried to replicate this, right? So each of them had an activity. Chris, he brought basketball. This year they put up hoops. Yeah. Rachel, she did photography using Polaroid cameras so the kids could actually take cameras because they don't have electricity, so they could actually have the photos right there. Creative writing. And even I got involved and I did boxing. That's Rose again. She's always around. And so, on the way back, Brewster shirt. On the way back, I was exhausted. This was my first time running a program in Uganda. It takes a lot of work. But again, I saw this magic kind of starting to develop, and I was just like, what is at the core of this? Like, what is it that we can kind of jump into? We're not trying to just, teach kids. There's got to be something beneath this that we can actually focus on and start to scale. And I realized it was the connection and appreciation happening behind the basketball, behind all of these games. What was happening was very simple. It was just a connection and appreciation across different cultures. And so I was flying back right after that picture when I was asleep in the airport, and I swear to God, I saw this picture in my head. I'm a visual guy. I was a designer and a brand guy. But it was people on the plane I was on, and they were kind of like in the aisle. And it was a diverse group of people, different ethnicities, nationalities, cultures, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, whatever you want. But they were all wearing the same hat, black hat, white logo. Didn't know what the company's name was, didn't know any of that. But they were celebrating diversity, and they were maintaining it as a group. They were appreciating each other, their differences, as opposed to trying to influence people. Because the stuff happening in Uganda, that's cool. The idea was born out of Uganda, but it's not unique to Uganda. We need that type of thing here in the States. We need it worldwide. And so I landed right away, and I told Deion, I called him as soon as I landed, and I said, we need to start a nonprofit. 2018, we started the Culture Connection Project. Our core values: diversity is a strength, not a weakness. Everybody is a teacher, everybody is a student. Aim to understand, not to judge.
Another Brewster student, Shay.
Yeah, Shay right there. This is our team that we were with when we founded, and Shay's very much still part of the team. We have a lot of Brewster people who are actually working on this with us and have come on the trip since. So with this, one of the things, we launched our social media, and one of the lines that we came out with was, get connected, not influenced. I had seen so much of this foreign aid influencing these cultures, frankly, against the will sometimes of the people who lived there. And as soon as we put this message out there, we kind of took off in Uganda. We put out one post, and we had 900 shares on that thing very fast. And all of the comments were positive. It was all from Ugandans, very excited about this idea of connection and appreciation, the foundational principles of support. Like is what should come first. You should be connected to the people, you should appreciate the people, and then you provide support, almost as a family provide support to each other or friendships. It's not through grand gestures. It's not through kind of these donations. It's through, hey, I have a problem, can you help me? And so we started to launch on Instagram and social media advertisements for people to come on this trip. We launched these in Europe and we launched them in the US. And I didn't really think this was gonna work. Like, I was like, man, I don't know, like, people are gonna pay $3,000 to come on a trip where an organization they've never heard of with a bunch of people they don't know, and you're gonna go to a developing country. But within 15 minutes, we had our first applicants. And so because we got all these applicants and we started to get demand for people to come on the trip, we launched our first actual Culture Connection Project trip in 2018. Here's a video of that experience.
And we back. And we back. And we back. And we back. And we back.
A lot of Brewster shirts in this, so keep your eyes open.
And we
And
back,
students.
and we back. Yeah. Hey, this ain't no intro, this the entree. Hit that intro with Kanye, I sound like Andre. Tryna turn my baby mama to my fiance. She like music, she from Houston, like Auntie Beyonce. Man, my daughter couldn't have a better mother. If she ever find another, he better love her. Man, I swear my life is perfect. I can merge it. If I die, I'll probably cry in my own service. This is good is all we got. So we might as well give it all we got. This is all we got. This is all we got. We know we got it. 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 Music's all we got.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. So after we launched that, and the next thing that happened was Ugandan organizations were reaching out to us left and right, trying to host us at their establishments, because up to this point, we had just been going to Bududa, this village, and doing this one primary school, this program. But we took them up on the offer, and we started partnering with all kinds of different Ugandan nonprofits. These are everything from soup kitchens to orphanages to primary schools, and we structured the trip in a bit of a different way because Uganda is more than just a village. It's not all huts. There's urban cities. So Kampala is the capital. It's a large city. Jinja, the Nile River, is right on that. Entebbe, where you fly in, that's Lake Victoria. And so we started to take participants through different areas of Uganda to show a holistic view of this country. And then they could understand everything. We gave the history lessons of tribalism to colonization to the current government, and then the situation that makes it so that community leaders such as these have to raise up their own communities. It became this educational experience around Uganda, but also connecting deeply with the people who are changing their own country. One of the this is one of the new partnerships we made with Feed the Streets. They are the only soup kitchen in Uganda, which means they're the only establishment that gives out free food. Food is not easy to find in Uganda. You see something like this and you think, wow, that's crazy. Like, that's so different than here, that's not normal. The concept of normalcy is interesting. So, only 13% of the world lives in a country like the US that's fully developed, or Europe. 87% of the world's population lives in places that have this type of problem. And just to illustrate this, 13% of you just got CCP hats as you walked in. So could people, if you got one of these hats, could you just stand up for a second? Yeah. And there's no one in the top row that got the top right there that got a hat. So that's the percentage of the world right there that lives in a country like the US versus a country like Uganda or India or any of these developing countries. Thank you, guys. To give you just a sense of this. So this is a place that we go spend a day at and volunteer. We bring the participants to.
And in 2022, you know, like when you guys get on the airplane, they say, put your mask on first and then help the others. So my mask was already on by 2022. You know, that's why I just wanted to give you guys a brief rundown of my history leading up to 2016, my first time being there. So after in 2022, I wanted to share that same feeling and those same sentiments with the people that came from my environment, the same way Josh was able to share that with me. Because even though, and this is Milwaukee. This right here is Milwaukee. This is 4 blocks from my crib. And like I said, it's one of the, it's the highest in all the worst stuff. Highest murder rate, highest dropout rate, highest teen pregnancy. And a lot of people there are feeling bad, and as they should, but as well, they need to understand they're in America. You know, they're still got American privilege. You know, my block might be one of the worst blocks. Everybody got Jordans. Everybody got iPhones. Everybody got all that. Like, these things don't even like exist in Uganda. That is Mars to compare to what's going on in Milwaukee. So in 2022, I wanted to share that appreciation with the people that in my environment. And we had someone sign up for our trip from Milwaukee who went to one of the best high schools in Milwaukee. You'll read right here that some of the stats on Milwaukee. And this person was signed up for our trip, was coming to our trip. Josh already interviewed her, everything. She went to a graduation party and ended up losing her life to gun violence. And it was obviously as devastating as you can think. But at the same time, that's just like another day in Milwaukee, to be honest. When I heard the news, I really wasn't too surprised. But we were still able to take her cousin on that trip in place of her younger cousin, 18-year-old, Keyshawn is his name, and one of her older cousins. And what I really wanted to do is I wanted to give back and let these people know that they have a chance to do something like I did. Well, that's why I said when I got back December 14, 2016, my life wasn't different because I realized that woe is me is not woe is me. I have a lot of opportunity. I have opportunity to do something, and I need to make the most of it. And I wanted to share that with others. Everyone right here you see is from Milwaukee. They never. The one guy is like 86 years old. He has been out the country. That guy's crazy, though.
And they're in Uganda right there.
But this is in Uganda. They barely probably been past Chicago, and now we got them in Uganda, and they're able to understand and appreciate. This kid right here, 18 years old, thought look at him smiling right there. This kid thought he was the toughest kid ever. This dude thought he was the toughest kid ever. Oh man, because where he come from, it is like that. Man, we took him to Uganda where it really is. Man, he cried. Walked out. Oh, I can't even see this. I can't even be around it. Cried immediately. He saw what real struggle is, what real poverty is. However, the first thing he said is, man, Deion, I'm going to get rich. I want to get rich and help these people. That's the first thing that came to his mind. I want to get rich and help these people. Right now, this was in 2022. Right now, that kid who, I just told you what happened to his cousin. And I just told you where he come from. He easily could have went left, but he went right. And right now, at this moment, that kid is in the Air Force in Colorado, doing well. And I have another story like that. I brought another person like that off my block. Well, she ain't had nothing. As soon as she came to Uganda, she understand and appreciate what she did have. Got right up out of Milwaukee. Right now, she is living in Alabama, owning her own yoga studio. Right now. And it's a lot of people out there not understanding or appreciating what they do have because they're looking at everybody else. And that's what I was. And that's what I did. And a lot of athletes do that too. You'll see a dude 6'6" saying, if I was only 6'10". You're 6'6", bro. Everybody looking at what they don't got instead of appreciating what they do got. So I was able to bring them over here in 2022. And it really meant something to all of those people. The old guy, he had already been to Africa. To be honest, he said, I just want to go because I might die. but he was our best participant, man. Sydney, man, I love that dude.
And boom.
Yeah. And that was, see, we're here to try to talk to you about purpose. And the one thing that the reason why me and Josh work so well together is because I just told you a whole full story of me finding my purpose and finding my happiness off of not needing my attentions. You know, don't get intention and purpose confused. They're completely two different things. My intention was to make the NBA. I didn't make it. And I found my purpose through it. His intentions was to go to design school, get into a big company, he hit all those marks and still had the same feeling. So that's why we have a good dichotomy, because everything I don't have, he don't have. And everything he don't have, I don't have. I have. That's why it's called the culture connection. We bringing everybody together.
So with Deion now scaling out his recruitment efforts through just communities that he knew, and then me trying to advertise online, which was my skill set because I was in advertising, we went year after year after year and brought more and more people and scaled this thing out as we went. You don't see the COVID years there, unfortunately, but we continue to go. And consistently, that same appreciation that I felt when I first went, that made me reevaluate pretty much everything I was doing, and Deion felt when he went, and Keyshawn felt when he went, scales out. It started to move through everybody that we brought. And it's not even, and then there's the other side of this too, where because these connections were happening and they were very deep connections, help came naturally. When that soup kitchen that you just saw, I showed the video of, a flood happened recently. Wiped out all their food, wiped out their kitchen. These things happen. It happens a lot. And they need support when those things happen. But now we can throw up the bat signal and be like, hey, Grace needs help. It's not Feed the Streets needs help. It's Grace needs help. That's your friend. And then they share that. It's a different type of support. Also support comes, this is Alasia. So she came on 2 of our trips. The second one, she brought her grandfather. She found us through Instagram. 2 weeks ago, she just went on her own back to the village to see the friends that she had been connecting with, and she built a library just on her own. So there's this giving back. Everyone, both sides, Ugandans getting value, Americans, people around the world getting value. Now, honestly, throughout all this time, I was still doing the CCP on the weekends. I was working still full-time at my agency, and then I had moved on to starting brand companies, and I had moved on to starting brand teams within startups, and eventually I went to this big company, and I had a global brand team that I founded and had all these divisions, and I got to do all this fancy stuff. We IPO'd, I went to the New York Stock Exchange, I got to win 40 under 40, and it was everything that when I graduated college, I hoped that my career would be. But then still, to be honest with you, I wasn't happy. And the reason I wasn't happy is because, I was living 2 lives. I can't even say I was living 2 lives, I was living 2 half lives. My Instagram looked crazy. It was like, what is this? In one life, I was Josh, the guy who ran a nonprofit and went to Uganda every year. In the other life, I was Josh, the guy who led a global brand team and got to do a bunch of fancy stuff. And last summer, I wasn't happy, and I was really digging deep into value and purpose. What am I sacrificing for all this fancy stuff that honestly isn't bringing me that much happiness? I really thought that this stuff would make me excited, but I am getting so much more joy out of just going to Uganda and building this thing out, even though it's not going to give me the same fancy things. But I decided I'm going to leave the tech world and I'm going in CCP full-time. And I have to say that it's been good. It's made me very, very happy. Since then, we've been able to scale pretty quick. I just got back from India a couple weeks ago. I was there living with a tribal community. This is like, this was probably the most remote village I'd ever been. Out of the whole community, only 4 people had ever heard of America. And the only thing those 4 people knew about it was, it's warm there. And so they just got communication with outsiders. But we're building out an infrastructure there. And while I was there, just like when we founded the CCP, it started to buzz through India. And this was the type of support that India was looking for, because they have the same problems of starvation and disease. That's global. That's everywhere in communities like this. But this approach to reinventing how we support these communities just buzzed through them. So what was the foundation for all of this? Like, we talk about this piece a lot. What was planting the seed?
Brewster, for sure, 100%. You look around right now, there's all different type of people in this room right now. The same way when we were here. I told you where I come from. You understand. Where I'm coming, my public school before I came here was 100% black. I never even met a dude from Tokyo before, or Korea, or all these people, and now I'm living with them. And we didn't have phones like y'all, so we really had to communicate, and we had to make our own fun, and we had to share ramen noodles and bust down top ramen together, and we all had to come together, no matter who, and everybody was in the same role. Everybody did the same thing. You was playing a sport. I might have played basketball, this dude might play lacrosse, but we both got to go to practice. And we both got to go to study hall because we didn't make citizenship. I know I didn't. So it was the exact same thing. The Brewster set the foundation, not only just that reunion, but even just being in these type of experiences and make you open to new things in different environments. That's what the culture connection is all about.
Yeah, and you guys might not even realize it right now. Like, I didn't realize it when I was here. I come from, again, like, it's a blue-collar, mostly white town. And, when I came here, I remember I saw different cultures, and it was mostly, for me, the comparison between people of, like, higher-class white towns. And I was like, man, I don't belong here. But by senior year, I loved this school. We just had connections through the whole class. And I went on to college, and I went on to life after that, and it wasn't until probably 10 years later that I started realizing, like, those foundational years, those formative years that we were stuck in that basement of Sargent, having to get along together, that really shaped us. It really, really shaped us. And then it isn't a coincidence that this stuff all started to spark after reunions. I'm telling you guys, go to your reunions.
Turn up.
Turn up, yeah. And I mean, even if you just look at, I just took this video. If you look at all these different countries that have come here, sent students here, including Uganda right there, it's pretty amazing. This doesn't happen in public schools. I went to public schools. It doesn't happen. So it is a unique opportunity. We were at dinner last night with Danielle and James, and I say this a lot, but like in both of our minds, Brewster was the first Culture Connection Project program. Yeah. And so this is Brewster's mission. We just wanted to throw it up there, but to prepare diverse thinkers for lives of purpose. It's on brand. It's on brand for the CCP. Lastly, I just needed to throw this up because we showed a picture of Miss Found earlier, and I know Bodkin would get jealous.
We're going to take a few questions. Thank you so much to Josh and Deion. Absolutely amazing. I'm filling in for Mr. Riley here. One more time. I think you're definitely the poster children for the Brewster motto. That's amazing. So we're going to open up for a few questions, and if we're towards the end of our time, but a couple questions, and then you can hang after and ask more questions, and obviously hopefully catch them at lunch and things like that too. So any questions from the audience? Yes.
Incredibly small. So like we have a staff, we're founders here. There's about a staff of 5 others that we work with, like someone who does kind of HR, someone who does more messaging. HR focuses mostly on onboarding participants. And then we have a lot of Ugandan staff. So the friends that I made those initial years, they actually help us run the program. And that's the same with India, where we have someone who knows the culture of India deep, and will run that program. The goal being ultimately that we want people within their own countries to run these programs, so that we can scale out and the people who know these cultures can actually be the ones taking people through it. But luckily for us, like, you know, I came from the design world and the creative world and the brand world, so all of this stuff you're seeing, I can just edit on my own, and the podcast I can edit on my own, so we don't need a big team.
And we'll do one more public question before we have to go. Esme?
I was just curious, when you go to these places a lot, you're kind of bringing to these people and their culture and everything, but what is one thing that, like, almost inspired you that you kind of received from them that you learned from all these places?
Oh, man. Can you repeat the question? So it's, yeah. So it's, what's one thing that inspired me or I've learned from these cultures? Is that right? Yeah, I mean, there's 1,000 things that I can think of. But for me, I think the large one is a lot like what Deion was saying here. You know, I was so, in those early days of my career, I was so stuck on being as successful as possible to as quickly as possible. And what I learned is that's a piece of greed, right? That's a piece of greed. And I think that when I came there and I saw the happiness of people who really didn't have much and was going through the type of things that Deion and I have talked about, starvation, like the mudslides there are crazy. It kills whole communities when mudslides happen, but there's still so much joy. And so then the question becomes, what is the source of happiness? If it's not all this success, it's something else. It's human connection. It's appreciation. So I think that that's the primary thing, but man, I could think about a lot of things. Yeah.
Do you want to add anything, Deion?
I echo the sentiment.
Awesome. Okay, you guys cool to hang after if anyone has some further questions?
We'll be in Esterbrook eating, so you know we're friendly guys. Feel free to approach.
Okay, so come up if you have more questions. One more time for Josh and Deion. Awesome. Seniors and postgraduates, you are dismissed.